Joining me, attorney Eboni Williams, Washington Times staff writer Charlie Hurt, both Fox News contributors. Well, what do you think so far? We've got 3 calls, two for Trump, 1 for Clinton, and here we go.
Sure. I'm sure Donald Trump and his supporters were happy to see Indiana go his way. That's good, important for him, absolutely. I will say I'm surprised to see Georgia being tight. Ultimately, I think that will go Trump's way when all the votes are counted. I think it's an exciting evening, Lou. I think American people are saying, despite all the negative commentary, around this election.
What negative
Where did I get that from? You know what? This will be the highest populated voter turnout we've ever seen, and I think that's a great thing for America.
This turnout is remarkable. We're seeing it in battleground states. We're seeing it in a lot of quarters, as Eboni just said, Charlie. What do you make of first these results, and then we'll turn to turnout?
Well, in terms of turnout, you would think that this kind of monster turnout would be a huge benefit for Donald Trump, because he is the sort of intruder. He's the change agent, and you would think that would be helpful. The numbers in Georgia have to be troubling to him, because this is one of those early places. Yeah. If he's going to have a problem anywhere, if he has a problem there, then he could have problems elsewhere. But I did see, and I don't know if this will hold up, but some of the early...
we should say that the reason for that is the demographic makeup of the state, which has been, like so many states, particularly in the southeastern part of the country, transitioning demographically, and it actually is an analog for a lot of other states that he has to win.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, and no matter what, Georgia is still a very reliable Republican state. But some of the early exits showed that Hillary Clinton was getting, around 25% of the Hispanic vote. And if that's true, and Donald Trump is able to get, 15, 20, 25% of the Hispanic vote, that is absolutely extraordinary, considering what the media has told us for a year and a half, that he will not get a single Hispanic voter, that that somehow he hates Hispanics and he hates immigrants, which of course it's all about illegal immigration. That's the issue that he brought up, that is very important to not only voters in general, but also even to Hispanic voters. That'll be a sweet thing if he does better among Hispanics than we've been told.
And what we're looking at here early in terms of the African-American vote, he is registering. He is also, which is just unheard of. We're going to see to what degree that holds up through the evening, but it is far better. We don't have a clear picture on the evangelical vote, so that is problematic. Your thoughts on the rest of these states in particular?
Certainly. Being a daughter myself of the Southeast, knowing these demographics, they're changing, and that's important. We saw in 2012 the GOP kind of put out this diagnostic report acknowledging their need to be effective there, to be competitive there. And look, Mr. Trump so far is looking like some of that is taking, Lou. Some of that is resonating. We'll see in the end what that really looks like in its totality, but it will be important, because if indeed the GOP can play to those broadening demographics, that is a very encouraging sign for the party moving forward, and I think it's a good sign actually for America, because I'm of the belief that when all parties come to the table and compete for the votes of the American people, that is good for communities. So I'm actually happy and encouraged to see that competition at play.
One of the things that we're looking at here in the broader exit polls is 4% of the voting of the vote looks to be Asian. We haven't even heard Asians discussed in this entire, well, if you will, this sort of circular analysis of the pundits and savants. They've sort of been left over here, and it's interesting to see them so pronounced.
Yeah, and the Democratic Party is built on on these little, they survive by dividing people by race, by dividing by gender, by dividing people, and all these demographics. They've mastered the demographics to the nth degree, and it's obviously pretty successful in terms of running a party. But the thing about Donald Trump was that he, people say issues weren't discussed in this election. That is not true. Donald Trump.
Yeah, that is. I couldn't agree with you more.
I mean, the reason he won the primary and the reason that he is fighting and within reach of winning tonight is because he ran a campaign about issues. and that, you know, whether it was immigration, illegal immigration rather, or the economy and national security, it was about issues, and that's what drew people to him. It wasn't because, oh, I'm filling this color-coded box the way the Democrats do. And if that's something that gets blown up in this election, America, like you said, America will be better.
America does win. And I do want to say this, though, Charlie. I do think you're kind of describing what some of us call identity politics,
yes.
right? And I think it can get a bad rap. But I think identity politics are reality in this sense. Americans vote for people that put their agenda at the table. And so when Donald Trump does go out and talk about an urban renewal plan that talks about bringing jobs and educational opportunities to black communities or other things like that, I don't think that's a bad thing at all, actually.
Agreed. But at the heart of it is not, that's not racial politics. That's like, how do we make everybody better?
Right, and whatever we call it, I think
exactly.
it's attractive and appealing to people.
To Charlie's point, I do think, though, there is this issue of slice and dice and box everybody instead of broadly appeal to Americans. There's no question that the differentiation in programmatic proposals, which has become the lot of the Democratic Party, you know, is an unfortunate way in which the arc of American politics has been bent. For there to be success, I think everyone has to move forward. And I love the fact that Donald Trump, throughout this campaign, has talked about restoring prosperity to all Americans.
For everyone.
Absolutely.
He didn't differentiate, and when he didn't differentiate, I thought he was at his most eloquent.
I agree with that, Lou, but I will say certain communities have certain needs, and I don't think that's a dirty thing to acknowledge that. And I do agree. We can all collectively progress.
I think the pejorative. I think the pejorative grows out of at what point are those needs systemic? Which of those needs are to be obviated by the policies directly, and which policies there is not even follow-up in the federal government
about that.
to determine which policies have worked. I have no problem with with whatever program it is that makes America better. I have a real problem with spending trillions of dollars, not necessarily whether it be foreign or domestic, without knowing what in the devil the result of it is.
Call a really bad investment, Lou. I'm with you. I hate my tax dollars. I don't mind, tax dollars going to progress.
By the way, most Americans feel the same way.
They're terrible. Absolutely.
We'll spend this money. We'll do this. But tell me what has been the result. What is the consequence?
What are we getting for our money?
What does success matter in government policy? At this point in the history of this country, government policy can be anything the politician says without accountability.
And the biggest loser in that fight would have been Hillary Clinton in this election.
Well, it's hard to attach her name to each and any one of these programs. Frankly, she's left very few fingerprints through 30 years of what she calls experience. In my humble estimation, there it is.
Incredible.
But you know what? I find it fascinating following your counsel and analysis, and I appreciate you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlie.